I know that giving feedback is super important and it helps someone grow in their role. That said, giving feedback, especially tough feedback, is agony. I dread giving tough feedback. All right, positive, good job, all that stuff. Like that's a walk in the park, but like if someone is struggling or I see places where I should, intervene, like in my heart, I want to put it off. It is just really tough. And, how do you be empathetic and crystal clear at the same time? Okay, so it's not really a problem per se, but sometimes I know your heart's in it, but sometimes I think like you're not. I wish you were more prepared. You're prepared a little, but just like prepare more for meetings. Like I think that would really help you and me. Other than that, you're doing great. Or it's the total opposite situation where I suck all the emotion out of it and it's 100% business. You need to be more prepared for a meeting. Thanks. And then there's always the risk of disagreement. Things get heated and feelings get hurt. So I need to know, how do I give feedback the right way?
Don't enjoy it. I'm a very conflict averse person by nature. I get pretty sweaty palms when I have to do that.
That's Leanne Davey. She's known as the Teamwork Doctor. She's also the author of The Good Fight, which is about how to use conflict to your advantage. She really believes in the power of feedback. Let's start with the common mistakes of giving feedback. What should feedback not sound like?
We believe feedback is about the other person, when really feedback is about you. And that is
What? Did I hear that right?
And once you internalize it, it changes everything about how you deliver feedback. You shouldn't be sharing any judgment about the other person. You want to be much more objective, talking about what behavior was objectively there. And any subjectivity in feedback can and should only be about you. So I can talk subjectively. I can, have all the adjectives in the world about my own experience because I own that and that's my truth and that's okay. But it's a big misconception that we should be using any adjectives whatsoever when we're describing the other person. So not that they were rude, not that they rushed, not that they, right? Like none of those subjective statements about the other person are legit.
Let's just say this seems really hard. I don't want to do it right now. And can we just brush it under the rug? What are the risks of not doing the hard thing and actually reaching out and giving them feedback?
You don't want to get into that kind of conflict out with somebody. If we carry some kind of an issue with respect to another person without giving them a chance to rectify it, then we are very likely to have all the rest of our experiences with that person be prejudiced by that original thought. So we know how many cognitive biases humans have. The other thing is you miss the positive side. People want to grow, want to develop, want to get better. And if you deny them the data on which to do that, you've denied them the opportunity to grow.
Tell me the framework for proper, effective, and kind feedback.
First, orient. The situation that you're thinking of is top of mind for you. But if you just sort of phone somebody up and be like, do you hate my project? What? You want to keep that super short. You just want to say, in this morning's call, or, when we were working on this project, or when I heard you talking to Chris. The reason is if you make that bit too verbose, your awkwardness is going to transfer over to them. Everybody's just going to be like, their skin is going to be crawling. Step 2, and this is where we've had to do a little bit of our work in advance, because this is where we're going to share with the person what their behavior was that caused us to have some kind of an insight or a reaction or something else. What we want in great description of behavior is nouns and verbs, no adjectives, nouns and verbs. Okay. Adjectives are slippery. So we want to be able to say, when I was giving my presentation, you asked 4 questions during the presentation. So I might have wanted to say you were rude and you interrupted or you got me off my flow, but I want to convert that, translate it into nouns and verbs.
Theoretically, the person you're giving this to will agree with those things.
That's the goal. None of this should be new information. You know you're doing it right if the person either looks completely nonplussed, just kind of like, or if they're like, yeah. So we want at best neutrality to those statements. And ideally you want the person being like, yep, I remember that. Yes, I did that. Now we can shift to the new information. And this is where we go back to the idea that great feedback is about you. So what you're going to give the person is some new insight about the impact of their behavior on you. I started jumping around in my presentation and I got off my game. And I lost my confidence. I lost my mojo. I felt like I wasn't in control anymore. Now, there's lots of adjectives and lots of subjective comments in what I just said. That's okay because you're talking about yourself. We want to go through one more step, which is a step that passes the accountability to the other person, gives them the baton to do something with it. And the best way to do that is to ask some kind of a question that causes them to own it, to take it, to grab hold of it. Something that's an open-ended question, not one that starts with why, because why is sort of accusatory and will tend to get people being defensive.
These components look really clean on paper, but I assume because humans are involved, it's going to get messy. So what do I do if the other person reacts poorly or just disagrees with the feedback?
Leave a little room for somebody to react to that feedback, to find it hard to swallow, because they've been telling themselves a different story all along. And until we get to that dialogue section, you're not going to know what their story is. If the misalignment is in their reaction to your behavior, you can, first of all, leave them a little space for that. And then you can just say, that was my experience of it, right? Just reinforce that you don't get to say what I was feeling or not feeling. This is my truth.
Leanne, do you have tips on how to give good, positive feedback that's more than just great job, you're doing awesome?
And guess what? They're the exact same tips. And the good news is practicing your orient and behavior and impact and question on positive feedback is a great place to practice it, because when you get it wrong, which you inevitably will the first few times, people don't get upset when you praise them in not the absolute best way.
Yeah. Cue the practice montage.
Cue the practice montage.
All